Today's episode is brought to you by Fastmail. Private, secure, ad-free email hosting that is lightning fast, hence the name Fastmail. Packages start from less than $4 a month and you can grab a free 30-day trial plus get 15% off your first year over at fastmail.com/Timbo. And guess what? We're also made possible thanks to the guys at 52ways.biz, 52ways.biz, a free one-day live event that's filling up very, very fast, hosted by small business expert Dale Beaumont, for business owners who want to grow. Grab your free tickets for you and a mate or mates over at 52ways, that's 52ways.biz, before it is too late. Okay, hands up who's got a side hustle. Keep your hand up if you'd like your side hustle to turn into a multi-million-dollar business. And keep your hand up if you're doing something about it. Well, today's guest acted on his side hustle and it's now turning over close to $10 million a year. And he's just getting started. Ka-ching!
Well, I said, welcome to a small business marketing show where successful small business owners share their souls to take your marketing straight to the lead. Now, here's your host, Mr. Timbo Reed.
And welcome back to the Small Business Big Marketing Show. I am your host, Timbo Reed. You, infinitely more importantly, are a motivated business owner and you are ready to crank out some great marketing to build that beautiful business of yours into the empire it deserves to be. And boy, oh boy, does it deserve to be an empire. Big show today. Mike Wilson from, as he puts it, the world's cutest and bestest personalised products for kids, joins us to share how his side hustle became his main game. Resident techspert Dale Beaumont from 52 Ways has got an idea for us, which means we can forget all our passwords except for one. I share another low-cost marketing idea that's going to turn your email signature into a sales machine. And we go back into the vault to revisit a past inspiring episode. As per usual, team, there is marketing GOLD dripping from the ceiling over here at Small Business Big Marketing's HQ. So let's get stuck right in.
Life just got a whole lot easier.
Hello there, it's Dale Beaumont from 52ways.biz, the best one-day business workshop ever, with another productivity tool to make your business life a whole lot easier. So what is the tool for today? It's called Lastpass, Lastpass. And you can check it out by just Googling Lastpass. Now, what is it? Well, it's a great tool to help you to remember all of your passwords. Currently, right now, I have over 216 different passwords that I need to remember. And if I tried to remember all those passwords, I'd go insane. And if I made them all the same, then that's a really big problem, because if one account could be hacked, then that same username and password could be used across all different platforms, which is a huge mistake. So what you need to do is use Lastpass. Lastpass generates a unique password for every single different piece of software that you use. So if one account is ever hacked, then that same username and password won't work on any other account. And then what you have is a master password that sits above all of that helps you to access Lastpass if ever you need. It's a really great tool, and you can also use it with your team as well. So if you need to share access to a particular piece of software or technology, then you can do that in a way that's very safe and secure. There you go. I told you life would get a whole lot easier. This has been Dale Beaumont from 52ways.biz. Now, back to you, Timbo.
Life just got a whole lot easier.
I love Lastpass. Been using it for years. It takes the pressure off having to remember a gazillion passwords. Hey, if you're loving the productivity tools Dale is sharing, then you really are going to love his upcoming live events. They're 8 hours of solid business building gold, and they're happening around Australia starting in May. He also goes to New Zealand, and you can grab a free ticket for you and a mate over at 52ways.biz. See you at the Melbourne event. Rightio. Coming up after today's interview, I'll share another low-cost marketing idea that will turn your email signature into a sales machine. But right now, let's meet today's successful business owner who I came across when chatting to longtime friend of this show, Paul Greenberg, who is the head honcho of the National Online Retailers Association, aka NORA. Now, I happened to ask Paul if there were any businesses that he'd seen of late that were absolutely smashing it out of the park. And without hesitation, he suggested, actually he demanded, I speak with Mike Wilson. Now, Mike's the founder of TinyMe, which not like Tiny Me as in me, because let me tell you, I'm not tiny, but his business is called TinyMe, which he calls the world's cutest and bestest online shop of personalised products for kids. So given Paul loves Mike's business so much, I suggested he introduce him.
Look, the TinyMe guys are a wonderful, wonderful team with a fantastic business. As you know, the NORA pillars of new retail are technology, customer centricity and borderless. And I'm pleased to say TinyMe tick all three. Highly customer centric. They co-create their products in a personalised way with their customers. Certainly global, very nice following in the United Kingdom, and technology on all ends of the business, from the digital side of it right through to their production, supply chain, sourcing. Highly innovative business. But best of all, Tim, they're really nice guys, and Mike Wilson's an absolute gentleman, a real ecosystem player. They've always been very generous with Nora. Enjoy the chat.
Thanks, Paul. So, I started off by asking Mike about TinyMe's research group, because between the three founders, there's 15 kids.
That's true. Yeah, but I've got 6. One of the other guys,
Mate,
Nick's
you look
got 5.
about 24.
Yeah, thank you. I'm probably the baldest 24-year-old you've ever seen, I must say, but thank you.
6 kids.
Yeah.
Eh?
Yeah.
What's the age range?
Oldest has just turned 14.
Wow.
And youngest is 2.
I mean, I was being half facetious, but do you sort of test your products and your thinking on them?
Yeah, we do. Probably not particularly systematically, but
No.
we certainly do. My wife's probably our biggest customer. It's a pity she's not paying for that.
Yeah, that's right.
Products, but,
yeah, not great, those customers that don't pay anything.
But yeah, we do certainly test stuff out on them.
Tell me, TinyMe, how do you explain it to someone?
I probably need to have a better elevator pitch, so to speak, but we make the world's cutest personalised products for kids, and we sell them purely online. So depending if I'm explaining it to someone in business or a layman.
You're right.
But yeah, we're a pure play online. So everything we make, we design, and everything we sell, we make.
So that's your pitch for a customer. Someone in the street says, "What do you do, Mike?" Yeah, cutest online, cutest personalised. What was it?
Yeah, personalised products for kids.
Okay.
So
what if you're talking to a business person?
Well, I often then talk a bit more about the business model. So depending how much they want to take on, we're extremely vertically integrated. It's a bit of a...
God, what does that mean?
It's a
Give
bit
me
of
a break, hey?
Exactly.
We got like some kind of sound effect, please, Steve.
So jargon and that. But it just means that we pretty much, for better or worse, we pretty much own we do everything. So the only things we sell is our own product. The only place in the world you can buy them is the TinyMe websites. And everything that we sell, we make. And so we're sort of in-house. Essentially means we're a lot of stuff in-house.
Just gives a sense of, gives you top 3 products and then explain to us why. Because that's really interesting. I mean, it's basically a manufacturing business out of Melbourne, which is fantastic given all the headlines say manufacturing is dead. So give us a sense of the type of product range.
Yeah, so a lot of it's in categories. So we do a lot of, say, kids' bags, so backpacks, lunch bags, swim bags.
Yeah.
We do a lot of label products, like the little sticky labels that go on your kids' uniforms. And
putting Dobson's out of business.
So, yeah, that's right, with happily. And and then kids' books, so a lot of personalised books. We dabble into a bit of software there. We've got some augmented reality accompanying apps to our personalised kids' books.
Yeah, right.
And then a lot of wooden stuff.
Would incorporate the kid's name and
that's
sort
right.
of imagery that they nominate into the story.
Yeah, it's typically using the name, but
Okay.
It goes through the story.
All right, I want to talk more about personalisation later, but let's talk about, so TinyMe, it is out of Melbourne. I mean, that's incredible that, 95% of all your products come out of here?
That's right. So pretty much everything we make that's personalised gets customised or personalised in our
Be a lot
factory.
cheaper if you did it out of China, wouldn't it?
Well, it's a bit of a hybrid. So things like our bags, we're not there sewing up bags in our factory.
Yeah.
We actually don't know how to. So those ones will have a supplier in China. And then in that instance, all of the last, basically all of the customisation, the design, the colour and the personalisation gets added.
Yep.
Whereas a book, it's just paper. It's wall stickers. We do a lot of decor. They're just paper. Or just,
Right.
wall sticker media.
Yeah.
And then they get digitally printed and cut in our factory. So it is a bit of a logistics play, really. Like it's quite complex in terms of managing all the different products we do and trying to do it in a way that's actually cost affordable. So
a few months ago, we had Lana from Monperson, who I think
Lana.
she ended up saying the permutations and combinations of what they could potentially sell went into the, I want to say billions, but that sounds ridiculous. But certainly the millions and millions of different things,
Yeah, that's right.
And then she got to the point where it was just like, okay, Tuesday at 11 a.m, this is when we're doing such and such, and they batch it up till then, and everything was managed to within an inch of its life, which I understand is pretty much similar to TinyMe, right?
It is. We try and do everything so it's as close to what we call a single piece flow. So one item could go through, another item could go through, but you have to do, because of the machinery, in certain instances, you have to do batches. But that's getting quite into the
Don't geek us out too much. Just say it's sort of like bird's eye. Where'd the idea come from?
It wasn't particularly strategic. My background's in industrial design. I'd always dabbled with side businesses, and then
Always had a hustle.
Yeah, always had a hustle. Sort of paid my way through uni doing rollerblade accessories, and always had different market stalls, and I don't know, a lot of failures, like a lot of people.
What was your worst failure?
I never actually put too much money into anything.
Right.
So in that sense, I had some that completely crashed and burned, but just wasted,
Did $10 damn.
Exactly. And I didn't waste too much of my money because I didn't really have any and didn't know anything about raising.
Yeah.
I guess like a lot of entrepreneurs would say, like the failures are always learning. So, yeah. But, this one,
cliche, but true, right?
Yeah.
Would you still consider that to be the case?
Yeah, very much so.
Are you cool when you fail in TinyMe?
Yeah, like we prefer not to fail,
Of course.
but we try and, the old adage, fail fast, and we'll basically not try and overinvest in something that potentially might be a failure, because you never really know.
Yeah.
So
okay, side hustles, whole lot of stuff, rollerblade accessories, love that. Hey, you've walked in with a bloody huge motorised skateboard, so clearly like a child of the 80s or something, are you?
I think having kids, I've sort of got, we've got a lot of cool kids. So.
Good, okay.
Dad endorsed cool kids. So.
You're a bit of a Phil Dunphy.
So... Phil Dunphy,
Modern Family, tries to be mates with his kids,
yeah, that's right. Well, the young ones are young enough that they still think Dad's cool, and
good luck with that, mate.
Haven't grown out of it yet. So.
Oh man, mine are 20, 18 and 16, and I'm about the uncoolest thing going around. That's I'm okay with that, I think. Side hustle, this one finally took off, right? TinyMe in some shape or form. Is that what happened?
Yeah, we started with a little personalised wooden name puzzle as our first product. So a bit of a random one, and that was really like my employer had a kind of like a computer routing machine sitting there idle, not doing anything. And I just finished there on really good terms. So I said, can I hire some time on this machine? And and that product I knew had been around for about forever, but never been really differentiated, and it was very much sort of cottage industry. So I sort of just gave it a new modern design spin and started selling it through the web. And it really was just like, there's a machine sitting there I could use. What could I make with it? So, and that we sort of underpriced that first product, and so just sold really, really well.
This fascinates me. So we've got an industrial designer. I'm guessing not a lot of business acumen, because you're a creative type, right?
Yeah, no.
But clearly there's something going on in the background that you've got access to a machine, personalised wooden thing. You don't just put it on the web. I love how people say, we just put it on the web and it's sold. Like, what does that mean? Did you use Shopify? Shopify wasn't around back then.
It didn't exist, yeah. No.
What does putting it on the web
didn't
mean?
exist. So, well, we built a website, and I've probably spent about 9 months to a year going pretty slow, because I was just doing consulting, pay gigs to pay. I had at the time only 2 kids, but a mortgage, and so just sort of paying the bills.
There's enough pressure needing to deliver, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's right. And so it took a little while, and I just built a software called Xcart, back in the day, it was pretty popular, similar to like a Magento. And source, that one, again, I had some China source components, then local. And so I spent a bit of time, a couple of trips.
And then you got a bit of SEO work. Back then you're getting feedback.
Yeah,
links.
so that's when I started becoming, there wasn't as many podcasts around there, but started becoming a bit of a junkie for like basically self-taught online marketing.
Gotcha.
And it's not like you could necessarily go to a marketing person because it was all emerging so fast.
Yeah, they
anyway.
wouldn't have had a clue.
So,
you what? You built
and,
what's Magento? Is that an album?
So yeah, that's right. And so we got into SEO, SEM. We got into AdWords pretty early on.
S&M.
Sorry, SEM. So search engine marketing.
Yeah. Where's this conversation going?
Kids products, Sim kids products.
I only got 6 kids.
So we did a lot of print advertising early on as well, just because I learnt about these things called distress rate ads. If a publisher's going to press at the last minute and needs a spot to fill, I rang them all up and just said, I'm your man. If you've got some last minute space, I'll turn it around in 15 minutes. Because as a designer, I could just quickly turn around the ad, and I'd sort of hustle over. They'd come back with an 80% off rate, and I'd say, $160, it's a bit much. Can you do it for 100? And mainly because I just didn't have any money, so it's pretty genuinely like. And I think those probably in and of themselves wouldn't have had massive impact, certainly at full rack rate. But because I didn't pay much for them, they would have helped things. But then I had such a good. The price of the product I was going to market with at the start was just a really good buy.
Right.
So it was easier to sell. You didn't have to be. I didn't have to be that good.
You got one on the wall now. So like, have you mounted one?
So we still sell the same product.
Do you really?
Yeah, it's had a few little iterations, and we're sort of tweaked it, but we pretty much still sell the same product.
So
nowadays.
you have gone, okay, this thing's selling well. We've got a little bit of a marketing model here, distress rate advertising, it's priced well, everything's come together. So at what point do you go, we're going to up this, and TinyMe is born?
Yeah, so pretty much it was me to start with. My business, a friend I went to uni with, we'd sort of followed each other around in jobs. I didn't even know how to use these routing machines at my previous employer. Yeah. So he used to make the product for me. My old man would help me pack it and that sort of stuff. And then I sort of convinced him to leave his job and buy into the business as well. And and not really invest, but sort of match me.
Not a lot to buy into at that point
exactly.
in time, right?
We sort of had a Christmas peak and it was looking pretty good.
Yeah.
And I just don't think we had particularly much. We didn't sort of think too much in terms of risk. We just sort of thought, this is going well, we'll give it a crack. I think we sort of thought we can always find a job if it doesn't work out. And so we basically got very quickly into a lot of product development. And that was because we could develop product quickly because he was industrial design as well.
He was too.
Yep.
See, this is great. And I always think that people with those kind of skills have got such a head start because whilst you might not have the necessary business acumen, I mean, Dumbo, but, you've got the creative like product design, ideation, all that type of stuff, which
that's right.
I think we've all got it. Many of us don't recognise we've got it, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So that worked quite well. We just pumped out heaps and heaps of product. A lot of them didn't work, but we didn't invest too much in them. So
you're trading as moo.com.au back then?
That's right. So we
4
launched...
4 years in, you rebrand to TinyMe.
Yep.
Why?
Pretty much because about 6 months in, or probably even less, I realised if we ever want to go international, which I didn't really think about when I started, I just thought, let's make a product, and I didn't even think about getting a .com. You pretty much have to have a .com or .co.uk or anything but a .com.au because anyone outside of Australia, maybe New Zealanders know what a .com.au is, but an American's like, it may as well be a dot, I don't know,
.z,
dot Nigeria or whatever they have, like something dodgy.
Yeah. Right.
So, and we couldn't get...
Moo wasn't available, of course.
It wasn't available. Like it was
worth bloody millions.
Yeah, well, it turned out that this, it's getting a bit technical, but basically...
Get the sound effect ready.
It was used as a sub DNS, which means people could make a free website called something.moo, and they basically said on their website, "We are never ever going to sell this particular one." That was their one example of the one they're never going to sell.
Okay, so you rebrand to TinyMe, and you were forced. You had no choice. So it's not, sometimes a rebranding can be a complete pain in the ass and disaster, but you had to.
Yeah.
And things take off, right? You start to wrap some numbers. That's like 7 years ago. Wrap some numbers around where you're at now.
So now we've grown a lot since then. We've launched in the US and UK, and that was part of the rebrand. So basically getting into those markets with a domain that people, wouldn't object to.
Yep.
And we're sub 10 million, but we're getting close.
Yep.
So, and we've got a lot of opportunity to push through that, particularly in those larger overseas markets.
Was there one thing, can you remember in that sort of 7 year, from the time you rebranded, was there a moment in time where you really stepped the business up, where you did something that...
It's actually been quite early days. It really stepped up, mainly because our base was nothing.
Low, yeah.
So, and we did a lot of that through product development. So just getting new product out to market and sort of riding the waves of certain marketing waves as well. Like when Facebook, and they never last long because people find out about them.
Yeah.
So Facebook, I don't know, when they had Facebook offers, they've still got them, but they had a little loophole in it or something that it just worked extraordinarily well. And then they realised it and thought, well, we want to make more money out of people. Facebook organic growth, Google organic growth was a lot easier to we've never been particularly good at SEO, but just been particularly good at making a really good product.
So this is interesting.
So,
What you're saying, you obviously have a high respect for marketing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, well, good
so
on you.
I run the marketing department now.
You run the marketing department there? So, and you are looking for trends. So how do you... Tell us about that process.
Yeah, well, I often just keep up to date with sort of industry news, mainly through...
Small Business Big Marketing Show.
That's right, Small Business Big Marketing Show. Pretty much podcasts and blogs.
Good on you.
So, and you have to pretty much... And same with, I sort of follow a bunch of all the marketing stuff and a bunch of other stuff to do with the manufacturing side and some other sort of little pet areas of... interest, but on the marketing front, and then I sort of push that through to my marketing team, and I encourage them to push it back through to me as much as they can as well, because they'll keep across it. There's certain like social apps I'm just not even using, so I have to kind of align them to sort of my team to tell me, is this going to be worthwhile pursuing? And I think one thing we've learned is we can't do everything, so we've just got to be aware of everything and then decide more deliberately, we'll give this a go, we'll give this a go.
Yep.
So
it is, just give it a go. I mean, it's things like, I'm going to pick an example, Periscope.
Yep.
Did you get onto Periscope?
No, we didn't.
You didn't?
It's partly we didn't go too hard with Twitter in the first place. So it's within our demographic, which is pretty much... Mums with young kids.
Yep.
And in the UK, Twitter was a bit bigger, particularly amongst the blogger sphere of mums. In Australia, not so much. It's
funny, isn't it, Twitter?
Yeah.
It's hit and miss. It's good for news, I find.
Yeah.
Really good for news. Gary Vaynerchuk talks about Twitter as being like a cocktail party with sort of short, sharp bursts back and forth of conversation. But, it can be a real time suck. Well, all social media can be a time suck.
It can, yeah.
What's the most, for you, would be Facebook, right?
Facebook.
Pinterest would be pretty good, wouldn't it?
Yeah, Pinterest, Facebook and Insta have all been pretty good for us, depending at different times over the years. Facebook was just completely awesome before they sort of, I don't know, a few years ago, sort of was more pay for play, but we used to get ridiculous amounts of organic traffic.
Yep.
And huge amounts of reach and engagement, and then it really, really waned. It's now one of our best paid channels. And so
you figured out the secret sauce around Facebook ads for you?
Figuring it out, it seems to change a lot. So what was working in terms of, I don't know, segments you're targeting or approaches you're targeting those segments, whether it's even your bidding methods or the creative you're using, whether it's a multi-image post or a video or a single image post and your ad objective, all these things tend to be changing quite not really fast, but they do change. So what was working suddenly might not be working. So we've got to keep testing.
And there's great learning here, Mike, because, again, I speak to a lot of small business owners who go, Facebook doesn't work.
Yeah.
And it will.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
But what worked yesterday may not work today, and it may be that your headline's wrong or your image is wrong or you should be using video, not all these variables, which is, again, I always feel sorry for the business owner that doesn't have that sort of necessarily creative nous to kind of see that there are so many variables. It's not just about running it out on Facebook.
Yeah.
There's so much involved, isn't there?
Yeah, that's
so you've
right.
got to learn. Listen to a Facebook podcast or go and do a course on it. Or
and there's heaps of them around.
There are. Yeah, and then you've got to choose which one. Right.
A lot of it's stopping and thinking too. Like, are my customers on there? Well, yes, my customers are. And often the person it's not working for them, their customers might well be on there. And just thinking, well, what are they doing on there? How do they want to be interrupted if they are being interrupted?
Yep.
And just actually thinking.
Yeah, correct. Hey, listeners, I'm talking to Mike Wilson, who is the founder of TinyMe. Now, Mike, you talk a lot about creating compelling value for your customers who you never see. You're 100% pure online play, but you are constantly thinking about how to just completely over-deliver. Would that be fair to say?
That's right, yeah. How do you make it so it's just sort of a slam dunk in terms of what they're willing to pay us? They just get outsized value for what they're willing to pay us.
So is this, would another way of talking about this be the customer experience? Or is it they different?
No, we use that terminology as well, the customer experience. So we sort of use a bit of a mix of jargon, customer experience and sort of value proposition or the value they're getting.
Okay.
And we talk a lot about in terms of what's the product in a holistic sense. So what's the product?
What do you mean by that?
Well, we see ourselves as a product business in terms of where the...
Well, you are. You're selling product.
We are selling physical product, but in that holistic sense, what was the customer experience in buying the product?
Yep.
And of consuming that product. So in terms of the personalisation experience, sort of how they got to the website, like any online business, the process they got going through the cart and checkout.
Yep.
Very often they wouldn't buy on the first visit, so how have we sort of re-engaged them and sort of seen that in a holistic sense as part of their customer journey or customer experience, unboxing the product and those sort of things.
Okay, so tell us about that process, because adding massive value, great marketing strategy, gets people talking. Well, how do you actually do that? Is it something you kind of map out?
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll map out, at various times we've done it, we deliberately mapped out the customer journey, given them, personas or given them a name and said, here's Karen and she's got whatever it is.
Yeah.
And just to put a bit more life around it so it's not too abstract for the team. And we'll sort of map what the experience is like, and we'll just see where we've got weaknesses, like, we could fix that.
Yeah.
We increasingly actually get paid customer testing. So we get customers to come and try out our website or try out particular pages and give us their feedback.
How do you do that?
So
there are obviously businesses that offer it.
There is businesses that offer it, but we just don't like paying much money.
You go and find a persona.
It's going to get very technical. Recently we've been using a sort of a mashup of Amazon's Mechanical Turk with some free surveying tools and a bit of it's getting quite technical.
Don't freak us out, but I think this is interesting. What you are trying to do is get a sense of what the customer loves and doesn't love, where the gaps are, what's missing, where's the opportunity, right? That's right. That's the outcome.
Yep.
You kind of freak me out with Mechanical Turk and stuff like that. But where's the learning here? What's Mechanical Turk?
Mechanical Turk's essentially, it's an Amazon product where it's hundreds of thousands of people will do tasks for a small amount of money.
Right.
So it actually powers a lot of the world's artificial intelligence is actually people behind it actually making little small decisions.
Yep.
And it can essentially tap into them, get people within a certain demographic to go and do a task. In this case, go to this website and answer these 3 questions. It's not, there's some products that come to market and put it all together in a package for you, but if you've got a bit of a technical, geeky bent, you can
hack the system.
Exactly. You can sort of put it together yourself.
So you go to Mechanical Turk, you say, hey, can I have 10 people who can go to this page and buy a product? We've set it up so it'll cost you 1 cent, right?
Yeah, well, in that case, we might actually get them. Sometimes we get them to go right through. Other times, go right through to the checkout and then stop. And that's a bit easier to do.
Yep.
Or we might send them to some of our competitors' websites.
Yep.
They don't know it's us that's asking them. And then we can get this sort of raw feedback of like.
And how do they feedback? Just as a consumer, or you give them the questionnaire?
Yeah, so it's either in that case it's a little like a Survey Monkey type.
Yeah, right.
I'm not sure if we're using Survey Monkey at the moment, but there's so many of those tools.
Yeah.
Or a video. Recorder feedback. So it's about $40 a pop to do one if you got a company that will do a video user testing. It's a lot cheaper if you can sort of roll your own, so to speak.
Is this only for an online business who's selling product, or could you be doing it if you're a plumber or a vet?
Yeah, you could. You can essentially find your audience one way or another through the internet and ask them questions. Now, whether it's in person or whether it's still through the internet, whether you're selling something online, you can still ask them questions.
Fantastic.
So, and that just does help. Is this thing too expensive? What's the shipping like? And there's a lot of aspects in the sort of product value proposition, and we can naturally focus on. They think this is important when they're until you talk to them, they say, I don't really care about that, but I care about this, and we adapt our strategy. And then obviously you've got to do it as a profit, at a profit, because you could just make it ridiculously cheap and not make any money. So we've got to work out ways of, what does the market want to pay for this? Okay. And we often ask the question, what would be what would you expect to pay? And then the other question, what would be a really good buy?
Yeah, right.
Because they're very different things.
Yeah, they are.
People will say $50 I'd expect to pay. They're not going to buy it for $50. Like, I'd expect it to be $50, but if it was $30,
I'd buy it.
That'd be a really good buy.
Yeah, gotcha.
So,
A past guest years ago, Joshua Nichols from Platinum Electrician. So he's got a whole bunch of Sparkies around the country. He's got this 21-step customer mantra, right? So it's literally timeline from the moment you come into contact with a customer for each Sparky to leaving their house and doing the most brilliant job so they talk about you on Facebook and everywhere else.
Yep.
Do you have something like that?
well, we don't. We haven't. We've had elements of that over the years. We don't have it anywhere near as systematic as that. I think it'd be. We should.
What are you doing?
So
How'd you
right.
get on this show?
Thanks for the interview, Tim. I better get.
That's right. You got work to do.
What kind of hack have I got here? Yeah, no. There's always things. Yeah.
There's all those
we've
stuff
got to
you've got to do.
Absolutely. Like, and this thing of it's a bit abstract about creating really good, compelling value, and often if you can get systems to sort of help you find out what that is, and we're trying to do that.
Yep.
But it's sort of, I think those systems would help.
Yeah, right. What do you love about the business, Mike?
I love the fact that it is lots of moving parts, and I hate the fact that it's lots of moving parts.
Yeah, right.
It means that we've got to be good at many, many things, and which makes it hard. We often say to ourselves, it's really hard. We've got a sort of design shop where we've got 6 software engineers, so we're writing a lot of software to do all the automation side of things on the front, on the website side as well as in production, and it's pretty messy in that sense. But it does mean because we control everything in it, you can do some pretty awesome stuff. You can sort of determine your own path to some extent.
That'd be quite. Do you find times where you're just chasing bright, shiny objects down a dark hall and you're going, oh, hang on, that's a complete distraction. Let's get back to our core business?
Yeah, very, very much. And we've put in systems in place to try and prevent us doing that. Particularly, we're not one of the businesses where we've got, I'm trying to convince my boss to do some crazy out there thing. Like, we're the bosses that are trying to convince our staff to do the crazy out there stuff. So we've had to put systems in place to make sure we don't just get completely off the track and chasing shiny objects. So there's plenty of them to chase.
So how do you, a system as in like what? Does someone sort of say, hey, listen, Joe, tap me on the shoulder if you hear me talking about virtual kind of reality or something?
Yeah, this could be another whole podcast. We've got quite a structured system in terms of we set long-term multi-year goals, annual goals. Like a lot of businesses, we run things in quarters. We have an annual top 5 focus areas. These are the main things we're focusing on. And in any given quarter, we've got top 5 projects for the business and individual or team top 5s. And they're all sort of subservient. And then we run everything in 2-week sprints. We use an agile methodology. So 2-week blocks, and they sort of all, and then we get everyone in the business to use a GT, Getting Things Done approach to David Allen's book. And we buy a copy for everyone.
Show.
Has he?
Yeah, he has, about 6 years ago.
Yeah.
I used to do the show with a co-host, Luke Moulton, and Lukey just nearly did a full valve because it was like his hero.
Yeah.
And here we are with Dave Allen. Anyway, so you use his approach. That's a tried and tested approach.
It is, and that's sort of personal productivity going through to the 2 weeks, going through to the quarterlies, to the annuals, and they sort of, at any given time, we can sort of say, within this 2-week block, is a vast amount of the stuff we're doing not linked to our quarterly projects, and are they not linked, when we set the quarterly project, are they not linked to our annual focus areas? And it's a sort of check of keeping us on track. Okay. So we can go and do something else, but if we're spending all of our time doing some stuff that's not part of those, either the annual down to the quarterly, we know that
you've lost focus.
We're basically agreed at the start of the year, this is our main focus area, and we have to have a very, very good reason for that to change. It actually very rarely does.
You operate in a space, Mike, of personalisation that's becoming huge. If we look back 10, 15 years, I remember, looking at websites like Trend Hunter or those ones, and you'd see where Nike 10 years ago, you could personalise your shoes, and that was huge. But that wasn't available to the small business person, right? But now it almost seems like in a world of sameness, personalisation is like, you're going to be your point of difference going forward. Tell us what's next in that area, and how can a business embrace it?
I think it will become bigger and bigger, mainly because the method of manufacturing or the technology behind it, the software and the hardware behind it, is getting cheaper and cheaper. So I think you'll get people that wouldn't have normally got into product. They might have come from more of a computer science background or a mechatronics background, and then having a crack at doing product. Industrial designers, when I graduated, you couldn't go and really start your own product business. Nowadays, because of the Kickstarters and Indiegogos and because of it's so easy to get a website up and you can actually go and source manufacturing, it's so much more accessible. So I think a lot of people that's not necessarily personalised, but the similar tech to do sort of one-offs essentially is getting more and more accessible. So we're starting to look at lots of robotics, for instance, that wouldn't have been accessible to a small business, more auto industry, and now they're becoming very accessible. So now you've obviously got to have a bent towards that. You don't just get into robotics if you're not interested in robotics, but it's the fact that we are interested in it, and we can pursue those sort of technologies.
Yeah, right. What's the one thing that you just, like in 5 years' time, it'll be here, but right now you just go, I wish we could be selling that.
Yeah, well, on the 3D printing side, it's still not. We do quite a lot of 3D printing, but more internally, and not for finished product. There's people doing a lot of customised product with 3D print, but it's either still quite expensive, or the quality's not quite there. For end consumer products, for industrial products, it is. But so 3D printing's one we're very interested in. So
okay,
yeah.
Where do you want the business to be in 5 years' time? Global domination?
Yeah, global domination, absolutely. So in the personalised kids product space.
Yeah, of course.
We're actually not passionate about kids products, interestingly. So we've got our brand is kids products, and it's a great space. It's not overly cynical, and it's just it's quite a fun space.
So your passion is personalisation, right?
Yeah, our passion's a sort of intersection between design, emerging digital production capabilities, and emerging digital web-enabled technology. So we're very into those sort of...
Three intersections. That's a three-dimensional intersection.
Yeah, and we're basically that's sort of where mass customisation's happening.
Right.
And we're interested in that, anything on the consumer end. So we're not as interested in the... and building brands. So we don't want a white label.
Yep.
And... that's not in our sort of roadmap.
Yep.
And to make stuff for someone, we want to build our own brands, but brands plural. So TinyMe is a kids brand where my design team would be very happy to do stuff for grown-ups.
Love it.
So
okay, so you're cutting your teeth on kids' brands. Did you see what I did there? Thank you very much. Hey, Mike, I love the business, mate. Paul Greenberg from Nora speaks very, very highly of what you guys are doing. He said something like, it's like your production floor is like watching heart surgery. Something like that. He was very, very spoke glowingly of it.
Yeah.
Good luck in the future, buddy.
Thank you, Tim.
There you go, team. Mike Wilson, TinyMe. Coming up, I am going to share my top 3 attention grabbers from that fireside chat with Mike. Plus, I've got another low-cost marketing idea for you. But first, have you heard of Fastmail? This show is lovingly supported by Fastmail, an insanely secure, ad-free email hosting service for that beautiful business of yours. I asked Fastmail's operations engineer, aka lead geek, Rob Norris, to wrap some numbers around Fastmail. And didn't he get excited?
All right, well, we have about 150,000 users around the world. We deal with about 30 to 40 million emails every day. I think about 30 million of them is spam that we reject. So there's about 4 or 5 million legitimate emails a day that come through the system. We have 500 terabytes of just backup storage. So this is not the day-to-day mail that people use, but just all of their mail, last ditch, the world is on fire. We've got a copy of everything. So that's a ton of that. And we operate at that scale, but the company is probably only around 20 people. We run small, but we pack a punch.
Fastmail, taking the fear out of Armageddon. Packages start from less than $4 a month. Grab a free 30-day trial plus 15% off your first year over at fastmail.com/Timbo. Righto, my top 3 attention grabbers from my chat with TinyMe's Mike Wilson, thanks to 52ways.biz and fastmail.com/Timbo. Attention grabber number 1, personalisation. I love this. This is just going to become a bigger and bigger part of doing business, a point of difference, if you like. Be sure to take a moment to think about what you can personalise in the way you deliver your business offering. Everything from your email marketing to product design to invoicing. And if you want to learn more about personalisation, take a listen to my interview with Mon Purse's Lana Hopkins, which you'll find over at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com/344. We go into even more detail in that interview. Attention grabber number 2, get a side hustle. Mike had a few before TinyMe took off, and I've got to tell you, I've got a few members of the Small Business Big Marketing Club who have side hustles generating a couple of grand a month. Not to be sneezed at. Pay the mortgage? Nearly. Attention grabber number 3, Mike's obsession with systems. Love it. Now, this is an area that I have avoided pretty much forever. However, just in the last few weeks, I've had my marketing VA, that is virtual assistant, document all the things I do in my business, literally step by step, and upload them to a product called System Hub, which is basically a place in the cloud where you can keep all your processes, systems, and SOPs. That would be standard operating procedures. And I got to tell you, it is a weight lifted from my shoulders. So I love Mike's obsession with systems. Hey, what grabbed your attention? Head over to smallbusinessbigmarketing.com/361 and tell me.
What have you got to lose?
Righto, it's time for one simple yet effective marketing idea that you can implement now. Immediately this show finishes. One that won't cost you a fortune and that might just generate you more awareness, more inquiry, and ultimately more sales. I call today's idea the Rockstar email signature. Let's face it, your email signature is probably pretty average. If you're like most business owners, it either contains just your name or it contains everything. Your name, title, email, website, every social media handle, phone, fax. Fax? Really? Mobile, street address, postal address, a massive logo. And I'm guessing your email signature may even have a rather long disclaimer. What's that about? You can do so much better. Take the time to set up a better email signature than the generic one you have now. There's no reason why a good email signature can't help drive inquiry and conversions, even sales. When I've linked to my book's sales page in my email signature, I noticed a marked increase in sales. So here's my 3 steps to getting an email signature that rocks. Step 1, think about what else you could include in your signature besides the obvious. Don't go crazy, but just think about this important marketing touch point a little more strategically. For example, have you written a popular blog post you can link to? What about a link to your business's explainer video or a link to an ebook you've written? These are all ways you can engage with users and prospects in an effort to move them down your conversion funnel. Step 2, sign up to an email signature tool like HubSpot's or Wisestamps, or do as I do and simply work with the tools your email host provides. And step 3, replace your old signature with your new Rockstar one. And here's the pro tip. Update your email signature from time to time to test how recipients respond to different messages, offers, and links. That's my 3 steps to creating an email signature that rocks. Head over to smallbusinessbigmarketing.com/361 where you'll find some additional resources, including a blog post on the art and science of email signatures. I know, the art and the science. And a screenshot of 2 of my email signatures that I rotate. And if you'd like help implementing any of the ideas I share in this segment, and there's been 26 so far, go ahead and join the Small Business Big Marketing Club over at crankmymarketing.com, where I will personally support you daily on your marketing journey. So, what have you got to lose? Alrighty, that almost wraps up another episode of the Small Business Big Marketing Show. But don't fret. You're probably not fretting, but you know what I mean. There's plenty of marketing gold coming your way in the weeks ahead, including a chat with a fellow who launched a great concept called Barefoot Cinema at my local beach resort over summer. Hey, have you listened to the chat I had recently with the Healthy Guts Rebecca Coombs? She was struggling selling her high-priced core product up front, so she created a fancy but very effective ascending transaction model.
I set up an initial coaching program, but I wasn't known. So the value that I was offering didn't seem great because...
Nobody.
No, I was just a nobody.
Yep.
So I actually had
nobody.
to... Yeah, a sick nobody. Getting better nobody. So I actually had to put the core product on hold, and I've only just launched it in the last week. And I went and spent a lot of time, energy, money and effort on my gifts and my product for prospects. So building the cookbooks are my product for prospect gifts. I've run a lot of workshops where I'm out talking to people all the time about gut health, and then doing things like my podcast. I've run a SIBO cooking show on YouTube, all of this free content that people can gorge on.
That is a great story. And boy, does Rebecca go on to reveal some amazing tips on how to create a profitable sales funnel. You'll find that full interview plus hundreds more over at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com, or, you know what I'd love you to do? Subscribe free on iTunes. Hey, I'd love to hear from you. Email me, tim@timreid.com.au, or join the Small Business Big Marketing Facebook page where I share the lighter side of marketing. Be sure to grab your free seat at Dale Beaumont's 52 Ways events that are coming up from May onwards all around Australia and into New Zealand. Simply go to 52ways.biz, that's 52ways.biz, and grab your seats now, as they are limited and they are going very quickly. And check out Fastmail, private, secure, ad-free email hosting that's lightning fast. Grab a free 30-day trial plus get a listener exclusive 15% off your first year over at fastmail.com/Timbo. If you love the Small Business Big Marketing Show, and why wouldn't you, then let another business owner know about it. In fact, grab their phone today, someone's phone, I don't care whose, and download it for them. I'd love you to do that. Until next week, I'm Timbo Reid, always have been, always will be. Thanks for tuning in. May your marketing be the best marketing. Bye for now.